hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Let's get it, folks. It is a Friday, and if you're listening, and based on the numbers Lloyd showed me, you are, and a lot of you, so we appreciate that. Let's get it, folks. This is going to be a fun one today. It's a football Friday. I'm here in Dallas getting ready for a little Utah State game tonight in basketball. Hans, you, fingers crossed, will be out here coming up tomorrow.
Fingers crossed, buddy. That's the hope. That's the expectation. And Jake just walked by here at Tim Daly Mazda and gave me a Nurple. So that was nice. It's always great to get pinched.
At least he's not throwing things at a certain region.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's done that a few times. But excited to be here at Tim Daly Mazda. And I'm telling you, people, if you need a vehicle, this is the place to come. They've helped me with so many different cars. Jake is all about just getting the deal done. Whatever your trade-in needs to be, whatever price point you need, whatever car you're looking for, he's going to get it done. And remember, if it's not a Mazda that you're looking for, he's got access to thousands of used cars. So come down and see us today. But, Scotty, I'm just it's one of those days on air where you're just riddled with anxiety. Yeah. And I know you've had a few of those, but, yeah, I've got anxiety just making sure this flight, which all these flights are getting canceled and delayed, but making sure we get there safe. And then the game itself, I'm just riding high anxiety. I'm probably a 9 on a scale to 10 of anxiety, thinking about how this thing is going to play out, how BYU is going to find a way to get a win. It's going to be the toughest game that they've played over the last probably 3 years. I think that this is as good a team as they've seen. And this is a team that has not lost at home. This is a team that has not lost when they have Baron Morton on the field, and they've got both of those things going in their favor, Scotty. And it's like I look at all the different angles that Texas Tech has to press against BYU, and it does make you nervous for sure. There are a couple of ways that BYU can get the win. I've broke down the film. I've got some thoughts on how BYU gets this win. It's just a matter if they can execute it.
By the way, I know because I've talked to a bunch of people over there at the Salt Lake City airport. Those of you that are of power, and we know there are a lot of you out there that work there that listen to the show, there may be a flight coming up later this afternoon from Salt Lake City to Dallas. If somebody from the government calls up and says we need to shut down that flight, you say no. You say no. You can cancel all the other flights, but that one has to go through. Just has to happen.
Not messing with that one. That's all.
Because I got a sneaking suspicion you're not going to be the only guy on that plane heading from Salt Lake City to Dallas and then eventually on to Lubbock. I got to imagine there's going to be a lot of blue on that plane.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Including Mr. Mitch. And if Mitch Juergens can't get to the game, then the game can't be played.
No.
I do have an update. Mr. Greg Wrubell has already made it into Texas, so that's good news. As long as Greg's there, who needs Mitch and Hans?
I love that he's getting the early start, too. Greg's not messing around.
No, not with this game, man. And, he's busy, too. It's crazy where you and Greg call both both basketball and both football. It's a busy schedule for you guys. I mean, that's why you're in Dallas. What game do you have? What game are you calling? Is it tonight?
Yeah, it's tonight. Utah State will play VCU in a kind of a it's not a tournament, but an event that brings in college basketball teams from all over the country. So Utah State and Virginia Commonwealth here in actually not Dallas, but Frisco is where we're at. You've been to Frisco a bunch of times. And so that's where we're at right now. And then I've got an early – okay, so there's 2 flights that have to go through, okay? Hans's flight to Dallas and then eventually on to Lubbock. That's got to go through. And then my flight tomorrow morning back to Salt Lake City so that I can drive to Logan and call a football game. That one definitely needs to go down. So, yeah, let's not screw with any of these games because it's going to be a good dose of Ajay if that flight doesn't go through. And I love Ajay. He's my brother. But we're going to spend too much time on punting.
We'll talk about punting.
I mean, how in punting, how is there – we just see the guy kick the ball. What details go into punting in situational football?
I don't even know where we're at. We're talking about punting. Let's go on to something else.
Yeah, you're going to be there, Scotty. Don't let Ajay have that headset, man. You got to get there.
And by the way, I got to be nervous. I got to be careful when I talk about Ajay because we give him a hard time. I love that dude like a brother. He has been so good to our broadcast, and he was kind enough the other day to somewhat got the initiative to add up all the games that I've done, and he was the one that knew I hit 100. I never kept track of that stuff, but he knew it was 100, and so Utah State had a cool little celebration about it because of Ajay. So it was awesome. I appreciate that.
Hey, is that former Utah State coach still at VCU?
No, he's at Virginia now. Ryan Odom. Yeah. So he took the job. He was just in the offseason, took the job. He left Virginia Commonwealth and is now running Virginia. So the team that he upset in that 16-1 upset is now the team that he's the head coach of.
Holy cow, that's wild.
I know, right?
That is wild. How's he doing there? Or is this his first year?
This is his first year. So, okay. But that's a pressure cooker there, man. You can't mess around at that place. So,
no, you can't.
And he's a great coach. He'll do well. All right, we got a lot to break down. Alema Harrington and Rob McBride will join us in an hour from right now. But let's get to it, folks. BYU Texas Tech Game of the Year right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Hans and Scotty G.
Let's go!
The lineup is set, and it's time to kick off the show with the biggest topic of the day. This is the starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans, huge game, absolutely massive game coming up. BYU and Texas Tech. You've looked at this game from every angle. Did you come away with that with more respect for Texas Tech or less respect for Texas Tech?
Oh, quite a bit more. Yeah, quite a bit more. So I watched two games this morning. I watched the 30-minute version of two games, both the Arizona State game and the Kansas State game. And I want to focus a little bit on the Arizona State game because they were able to beat Texas Tech. But I got to throw in a couple of caveats. Arizona State was able to beat Texas Tech in Phoenix, so at Arizona Sun Devil Stadium, and they were able to beat Texas Tech without Baron Morton. It was Will Hammond, the backup, that was in for the entirety of that game. So a couple of things that BYU is not going to have the advantage of that Arizona State did have the advantage of. Arizona State had a couple of early drives. They had a couple of stops in the red zone. They ended up with field goals, but they did take the lead, and they kept the lead from the first quarter all the way to about 5-minute marks in the fourth quarter. And then in that fourth quarter, Will Hammond was able to find, and every time they say his name, I think they're saying Clay Aiken. Which, you know, back in the early days, Scotty, you know, I was a big American Idol fan.
Oh, I know.
And I still love Clay Aiken, but it's actually Coy Aiken. Very good receiver. Very, very good receiver. They've got three very, very good receivers. Reggie Virgil, Caleb Douglas, and Coy Aiken. And Will Hammond was able to find Coy Aiken with an insane catch that gave Texas Tech the lead at that point. It was 22-19 for Texas Tech. And Arizona State took the ball with about 1:50 left, went the length of the field. Crazy throw to Jordan Tyson, went the length of the field, and they were able to score on the 5-yard line, just punching it in with Raleek Brown. So, couple of takeaways from that Arizona State game when we're just looking at BYU's opportunity to potentially win this game. The numbers aren't going to show Sam Leavitt and the critical rushing that he had in that game, Scotty, because there were 4 sacks that took away probably 30, 35 yards in that game. Those 30, 35 yards were critical in rushing for Sam Leavitt. There were multiple zone reads where Leavitt was able to get the first. There were a couple of scrambles where Levitt was able to get the first. So I like Bear Bachmeier's ability to find a couple of gaps inside this Texas Tech defense. Now, Raleek Brown, the running back, was keeping them honest. That's why it's so critical LJ Martin is back for BYU to keep Texas Tech's defense honest. I do think that there is some room when the mesh is run well, the zone read is run well, and Bear Bachmeier with the opportunity to keep. So that's a positive number one. Okay, positive number two, Scotty. Coach Dillingham with Arizona State drew up and designed quick pop hits from Sam Levitt. So he was throwing quick slants into the slot. He was throwing quick seam routes to his tight end. He was throwing quick slants to Jordan Tyson. Everything was quick pop. Everything was snap to the shotgun, settle the feet, fire the hand. And it was all just quick shots. And they were getting 5 to 8 yard chunks at a time. There were 47 passing attempts by Sam Levitt. So they knew that they wanted to pass, and they knew that they wouldn't have a lot of time to pass. So everything was pre-read, pre-designed, quick fire. So I really like that concept for BYU because I really think Bear Bachmeier can do that. And Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston and Carson Ryan, they're all really good in those quick designed routes for quick pops. So I like that aspect of it. So I'm combining some zone read with zone read break to the option pass, so RPOs, and then there was one other aspect that Kenny Dillingham called in for Arizona State and Sam Levitt. And I think it was a check two, Scotty. When Texas Tech showed a single high set and a press look, Sam Levitt would take the snap and he would roll out to typically the field side, and as he's taking the hit, this happened 3 times, as he's taking the hit, he would launch this thing in the air on single coverage over the top where one of his receivers beat the press and was on the far side of the field away from the single high, and he would just launch it, and he connected on that a few times for huge gains and putting themselves in scoring position. So I don't mind that either. You know, if you can identify some type of coverage where you know Chase Roberts can get an angle and can get into a deep route, and you feel like that safety is a little bit slow to the design, let Bear Bachmeier just launch that thing up and maybe let JoJo Phillips
Hey, there you go.
Go get underneath it. That's a really nice plus. Okay? So there's the 3 offensive angles. And then one thing I wanted to add on as I was watching this Arizona State game, Raleek Brown was key in setting pockets, picking up quick rush, picking up chips, and reducing the amount of sacks. Now, there were 4 sacks on Sam Levitt, Scotty. There could have been another 7 or 8. That's how much pressure they were bringing. That's how fast the rush is. And it was taking Raleek Brown every chance he got to pick up and chip. Now, Raleek Brown missed a backside block and gave up a blindside hit on Sam Levitt that it looked like it nearly killed Sam Levitt. So, LJ Martin, I'm happy he's back to help with the mesh and help with the zone read and help with the run and help with the pass. I'm most excited that he's back to help by picking up some of these rushes that Texas Tech brings. LJ Martin in the pass set is so much more important than LJ Martin any other way in this game, in my opinion, because they bring heat. They've got great one-on-ones. You know, when you're just looking at the defensive line, Scotty, look at this. So, by the way, they've forced 16 fumbles. Jeez. I'm talking about this year. They have forced 16 fumbles, and they're able to cover 10 of them. David Bailey's responsible for 2 of those forced fumbles. Romello Height, the other D-end, is responsible for 2 of those fumbles. Lee Hunter is responsible for 1. He's the nose tackle. So combined, your 2 D-ends right now are combined through 9 games for 18 sacks through 9 games, 18 sacks between Romello Height and David Bailey. And both of those guys, nothing's gifted to them, Scotty. Everyone's paying attention to them, especially Kansas State, and they were still out there doing work. So they're forcing fumbles. Now, I want to take a look at the 3 linebacker set. Now, they use a star backer, which is used at the line oftentimes, but their star back is number 6, John Curry. If you take their star back, their Mike back, and their outside linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez, they combine for 10 of the forced fumbles. Those backers come in with blazing speed and intent to knock the ball out. So those backers are deadly. And I'm begging the BYU offensive line to just pay attention to those linebackers. Make sure that they don't get those free shots. Make sure that you're getting the extra block, the extra push. Make sure that you're putting that halo around L.J. Martin so guys don't get a free shot on him, or if it's any one of the 3 or 4 running backs that we might see against Texas Tech, whether it's Nawahine or Rex or Demooney or whoever it is. So, Scotty, it's just it's a really tall task, and that's kind of an offensive look for BYU against this Texas Tech defense. As far as the number goes, BYU is going to have to get to 28 points. 24 won't do it. They're going to have to get to a minimum of 28 points in order to win this game. And Texas Tech has not given up 28 points on the season. The most points they've given up on the season is 26 to Arizona State. So I'm asking BYU to do something that no other team has done against this Texas Tech defense to this point in the season. Hey, and guess what? They're capable of it because they're the number 7 team in the country. They're the number 34 offense in the country with 433 yards. They're the number 19 scoring offense in the country at 36.3. And they have the ability to do it, Scotty. And, sometimes you just got to look at your guys and say, hey, do it. I know it's a lot to ask. Do it. But I don't think anything fewer than 28 gets the win.
So, conversely, you believe that Texas Tech will have some level of success offensively against the BYU defense, somewhere in the range of 24 to 27 points.
Yes. If BYU wins this game, it's going to be 28 to 27, 28 to 24, 28 to 25, 26. It's right in that range. And you're going to have to put everything you've got on Baron Morton. Now, the good thing is, Scotty, he is an immobile quarterback. He's had a leg issue. He's had he had a leg issue and a wrist issue. No, sorry, a leg issue and an elbow issue so far this year. He missed half of that Utah game. He missed the entirety of the Arizona State game. He's kind of limped back into production when Will Hammond, the backup quarterback, went out for the season. I think he was kind of hesitantly like, yeah, I'm going to come back, but set me some good pockets. I'm going to get rid of this football. He is not mobile. His longest run on the season, Scotty, is 11 yards, and that was against the University of Utah. He only averages 5 carries a game. So he doesn't like to get out of the pocket. He doesn't like to use his feet. He's hesitant to run at any given moment. They do run some mesh. He never keeps on the mesh. He always gives it to one of his 2 backs, Cameron Dickey or Jacoby Williams. And I think that that's a really good thing for BYU because I can run a different personnel group. I feel like defensively I can run I can run a rotation of personnel group. I can see who my hot rusher is, whether it's Hunter Clegg or Tassili Akana or Vilima Pauha or whoever, or Bodie Schoonover, who had a couple of sacks a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to find my hot rusher, and I'm going to run a 4-man rush, and I'm going to find my 1 or 2 hot rushers, and I'm going to let them pin their ears back and just go do work and try deep speed rushes. Try nice power bulls, try some power poles, hit them with the insides, and just let Keanu Tanavasa, let Bodie Schoonover, let Vilpoha, let them just go defensively. Take the reins off of them and just say, all right, Baron, here's the deal. We get a little pressure on you. Let's see you scramble, because you're going to be scrambling into Glasgow, Kelly, and Cialiacera. So good luck on the scramble, because they're going to rip you in half. So I'm going to let my defensive line go get the rush. I'm actually going to keep my linebackers kind of deployed at that second level working in zones, because they love the dump down to their tight end, Terrence Carter. He's a great dump down. And by the way, when number 20, the running back, Jacoby Williams, is in the game for Texas Tech, I know it's either going to be to the flat. Jacoby Williams is as good a pass threat as he is a run threat. So I know they're going to either drop it in the flats on him. If he does release out of the backfield, oftentimes they're dropping it into Jacoby Williams. He was really good against Kansas State. So I'm looking at my personnel grouping. I'm keeping my linebackers to work the flats and to clean up on Baron Morton if the pressure comes. And then, sadly, I'm going to go ask my defensive corners. I'm going to ask my safeties. We're going to run a lot of press man. And I know Reggie Virgil's really good. I know Caleb Douglas is really good. But I'm going to beg you guys to go run some press man. Now, they did it against Arizona in the fourth quarter, and they did it really well, and they did it against some good receivers. So I know that they're capable. But I need Therian Alexander. I need Evan Johnson. I need Maury Bamba. I need those guys to be able to run some press man. And I feel like I can get some pressure with some four-man rush. I feel like I can clean up with my three-man linebacker crew. I feel like I can run those presses, and I feel like I can cause them some problems to keep them at 27 points. If BYU wins, it's going to be somewhere around 28-27, 28-24. That's how it gets done.
You know, there's you talk about it a lot, and I had a college coach once tell me that special teams will win or lose you 3 to 4 games every season. I think this is a game where there's going to be a special teams play that breaks this game wide open, because I think you're going to see whether it's a big punt return, whether it's a punt block, whether it's a kickoff return, a muff punt inside the 15-yard line, kind of like that, that Kansas game last year where the ball just took a funky bounce off a guy's helmet and changed that game around dramatically. I think that you're going to see, I think you're going to see something like that if the other team's able to take advantage of, that could be the difference in this game.
Arizona State had a punt return. To your point, Scotty, had a punt return back to the 50 that set them up for a scoring drive. So Arizona State had a couple of short fields, and one of the short fields was the interception on Will Hammond. They had an interception that put Arizona State in their own red zone. I think that they intercepted it somewhere around the 22, returned it to Texas Tech's 15. But that was not Will Hammond's fault. That was just a beautiful play. They were trying to roll their tight end into the flats. I think it was Terrence Carter into the flats. Arizona State's defender came up and hit him as he was catching the ball. It popped the ball up, and the safety ran underneath it and got the interception. So it's big plays like that. You're right, big plays, short fields. Kelly Popinga's special teams has to play a part. There's got to be some short fields. You can't go 80 yards against this Texas Tech defense. It's too difficult.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It doesn't get much bigger than this. BYU and Texas Tech, your home for the best coverage of Cougar football, is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Lloyd, you can't play this song if I'm not in person with Hans, because if I'm not seeing the Pitbull fist pump, it just isn't. It's not worth it, man.
I shouldn't even play it unless you guys are in studio so we can get the video of it.
Oh, please tell me, Hans, you're doing the fist pump.
Oh, I'm fist pumping so hard. I look like Daniel when he breaks the ice. When he goes at the ice blocks and brings his elbow through, like, I am fist pumping, dude. This is a hype machine right now. I will tell you, man, this is more anxiety than I've fought in a long time. And I'll tell you one thing I'm a little bit worried about. I've been thinking about this game now for nearly 14 days. I've been watching different angles and different film. I did a refresher 30-minute hits on both Arizona State and Kansas State this morning. And as an analyst, I get anxiety just watching Texas Tech and thinking, geez, okay, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? if I was a player and you gave me 14 days to sit around and let's just say I'm Andrew Gentry and I'm looking at David Bailey, the defensive tackle for Texas Tech, you start to get a little anxiety. Like, okay, well, no, I know I could beat him. And you get all this self-talk like, oh, I got this easy. The important thing is that TJ Woods comes to Andrew Gentry and Aaron Roderick comes to Andrew Gentry and David and Coach Gilbride comes to Andrew Gentry, and they all three have a very calm delivery of, hey, don't worry about it. We're very rarely going to put you on an island. We're never going to put you in a 5-step drop. Just get your hands on him, square him up. Just don't let him have a free run. If you don't let him have a free run, you're fine. And remember, we're going to have inside help, inside support, because they drop their D tackle on these downs. So whatever it is, just paint a very calm picture, because 14 days of me breaking this game down, Scotty, I'm like, if I had to play this game, I'd have a little bit of anxiety. Like, how are we going to get this done? So I'm just hoping that the coaches have helped these players internalize what their role is and help them understand what they're going to do to help them get their job done.
How often did you get that as a player, where you were watching a guy on film and being like, this dude's going to be a problem for me?
That happened more in the AFL in my 4 years in the AFL than it ever happened in college. And, I didn't get a ton of playtime in the NFL. So the anxiety was just sky high in the NFL because you wanted to do your job. But I don't remember getting over my skis on personnel in the NFL. But in AFL, it wasn't off film. It was having faced a guy 2 or 3 years in a row and knowing that guy is a problem for me. And that always was in my head. There's very few players back from this Texas Tech team that lost to BYU in 2023. I saw the number on it. I think it was like 4 or 5 is all. I think there's 20 back on the roster, but only 4 or 5 that actually play. It's something small like that. But they'll have that in their memory. It happened every once in a while. The very first game that I played with or that I played in for BYU after a redshirt year was 1997 against the Washington Huskies. And the very first time I stepped on the field after a redshirt year, which is really weird when you redshirt and you're out a full year and then you step on the field for the first time as a redshirt freshman, I ran out there against an offensive lineman named Benji Olson that ended up being a really high draft pick to the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, yeah, I remember that name.
Yeah, and he was really good, and I had watched him on film. I knew he was extremely powerful. I did okay against him, except he caught me on a blind side that was a brutal hit. But very, very, very few times did I have anxiety of the personnel that I was going to face.
I guess it all comes down to how guys get motivated. Depending on, and I don't know what type you would have been, but prefer to coach in a situation like this. You're Andrew Gentry, and you have your coaches coming up like, this is a big stage. Everybody's watching this game. This is your moment to shine. Who knows? You could make some money on a game like this. This is such a big moment for you. Or do you just go and say, hey, you know what? Just another day at the office. Just treat it like another day. Do your job, and off we go.
It's, hey, another day in the office. I mean, you got to do that. You got to put that in your mind as much as you can. And you've got to put those horse blinders on, those kind of blinders that they throw on the sides of a horse's head so that they can't see the peripheral and see things that spook them from behind them. You put those blinders on, and all they do is pay attention to what's directly in front of them. And that metaphor, it actually really does apply to this world, because I'll never forget my rookie year with the Indianapolis Colts, trying to make a roster, knowing that there were 8 or 9 defensive linemen that they had to cut just for me to make the roster. And we were headed to Seattle. They had just built the new stadium, the new Seahawks stadium. I knew that I was going to get probably second quarter rotation. I knew that everything was on the line, and I'd worked my whole life for this moment. And I remember getting to the point where I was hyperventilating and blowing into bags and starting to get dizzy because, that was hundreds of thousands of dollars for me. It was a NFL roster spot. Like the whole world, my whole world. I left BYU. I didn't have a degree. I didn't know anything other than football or what I wanted to do. And it was like it all came down to this moment, Scotty, of this is your life. This is your moment. And if you can make a play or two, maybe you make this roster. Maybe they cut 5 or 6 other guys and not you. And I remember getting so overwhelmed that I couldn't hardly breathe. And I had to put the headset on. I played some calm music. I took myself back to the high school locker room. I took myself, back to like times when things were just a lot more calm and easy, whether it was family vacations or anything, just to take my mind off the intensity of the moment so that I could pay attention to what my job and my role was. And I ended up having an incredible game. That game is what set me up to make the roster that year. And that's the type of kind of vision that you have to have against Texas Tech. You can't be pulling up and see the tent city that you were telling me about, Scotty, and all the energy that's going in and the fireworks that are firing off and the people that are lining the roads with their signs as the bus is pulling into the underground. And you can't get caught in that moment. Put your headset on, put your blinders on, watch your playbook, watch your film, listen to the coaches, and just know it's all going to be okay if you just do your job. That's it. Just do your job, and everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to fall into line. So, yeah, it's a good question, and it's just critical.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, the man himself, Kevin Eubank, will join us. What's the weather look like in Lubbock? What does it look like up in Logan? We'll find out next from the chief meteorologist of KSL, Kevin Eubank, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
It's a much-needed bye week for the Utes as they get set for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, make sure to join the show coming up Tuesday from noon to 3 at Sound Sleep Medical, 8941 South, 700 East in Sandy. All right, it's that time where we get a chance to chat with somebody who's far better looking and smarter than the two of us, Hans. It's Kevin Eubank, chief meteorologist from KSL. K-Bank, how are you?
Hey, guys, I'm great. How are you today?
Fantastic.
Never better. Are you holding up all right?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's super
Okay.
nice.
Right.
Fall's awesome. We've had great temperatures. Everything's been good. It was.
All right.
How about you guys?
Just
I miss seeing you. I don't see as much.
I
Football
know.
season, you guys hunker down, and it's like you guys are operating out of a bunker.
Well, it feels that way. I'm in Dallas. Utah State's got a basketball game tonight, and then Hans will be down here in Texas tomorrow for BYU and Texas Tech. So, what are we looking like in Lubbock tomorrow?
Well, first off, I'd rather be in Dallas than Lubbock. I mean, I'm just saying for a variety of reasons. So, lucky you, Scotty and Hans. Go get them. But it's beautiful. It is so pretty. It's going to be sunny. 60s. It's an early kick, so it's a 10 a.m. for us. 60s to start, 70s to finish. Just beautiful, sunny Texas weather for that football game. And as we all know, I don't think anyone would have ever thought that we'd be having a conversation at the first week of November about the importance of a top 10 matchup and all the implication it has for the playoffs, for the Big 12 championship. To think that BYU's there right now, it's pretty cool. So it should be a fun game.
Well, we got Utah State coming back in here to Logan. What does Logan look like Saturday?
Beautiful as well, just not as warm. So we're going to have mostly sunny skies. It's a 4:30 kick against Nevada, and we'll start in the 50s and then slide down into the 40s. Sunset's about 5:15. So, you just get a little bit of sun to start that game, but then most of it's in the dark. So bundle up. Temperatures drop down into those upper 40s as you head through the halftime.
I did a quick little oil change and, got it ready for the winter, my snowblower. So am I going to have to use that thing this year? I really want to. So let's get it going.
On. Scotty, you have to use it every year. I know where you live, and every year you use that snowblower. So this is what I think is interesting, and we've watched this for a lot of years. What we're involved in is a little climate shifting that happens. And so our Novembers are actually a little bit more like October. And our Decembers are a little bit more like November. So everything feels like a month later. We start getting our first snow generally in December, not in November. And so everything's just kind of shifted a little bit. And that means that it lasts a little longer into the spring as well. We see snowfall all the way into April and sometimes even May. And so I think that's what we're dealing with right now. It's been a gorgeous October, a spectacular start to November. And I think eventually December we get our first little bit of snow. And then it really gets going into January and February. So just a little later than maybe when we grew up. I think it's just a little different.
Well, Kevin, enjoy the games coming up tomorrow. And thanks, as always, for helping us out. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Good luck with both your games this weekend.
You got it. Kevin Eubank from KSL, chief meteorologist and overall good dude. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Well, we are knee-deep in it. It is one of the biggest Football Fridays of the entire college football season. I'm looking at Mr. Alima Harrington, and he's got that nervous look on his face.
I'm so anxious, and I'm starving for some BYU football. Coming off a bye week, I'm starving like Marvin for a Cool J song, a little Def Jam drop there. LL Cool J shout out. Man, I have consumed every piece of media available to get ready for this game, and I can't wait. I'm glad that it's an early game, and as long as it doesn't impact the play of the Cougars, that's tough to play at that time of day. But I'm glad I don't have to wait till the evening for an 8:15 kick.
Get it right out of the gates.
Man, I'm excited.
Coach Mack came in, and Coach Mack had Coach's face on.
Yeah,
I sure did. This is a way huge game for BYU.
Yeah,
and tough environment, good team they're playing against, and man, I tell you what, if they can just keep it close going into the fourth quarter, give themselves an opportunity to make 3 or 4 plays at key times, because BYU's had a bye week, chance to rest up, chance to watch more film. Their speed guys will be available, and I think everybody's on board.
Everybody looks to be
JoJo's
on
available.
Board. Yeah.
You got more weapons.
Yep. JoJo, LJ, Raider DeMooney.
Yeah.
You got a good grip of guys that are coming back and look to be healthy. Coach, were you in the stadium for the
Was I what?
In the stadium for the Utah Texas Tech game?
Yes.
Okay. So you talk about keeping it close to the fourth quarter and having an opportunity. Utah did just that. They kept it close to the fourth quarter, and then the wheels came off.
Because, on that day in our stadium, Texas Tech was a better team. I mean, the result they got, they deserved because they earned it. It wasn't. And I think at that time, Utah was trying to find itself a little bit, because if you notice now, at this point of the year, Utah has the personnel has changed. You don't have the same guys playing all the time. So they're still finding their players, basically, with the roster. So the first game was not necessarily an indicator of what they could do. Now, I think Utah's probably the hottest team in the league at this point because they're playing really good football in all phases. And the biggest difference last week was the special teams because Manu got a big return, which changed the game. The kicker looked confident, kicks everything out of the end zone, kicks his field goals. Coverage teams are really good. And I think the special teams was a huge difference in this last game. And this guy had advertised at Cincinnati that the strength of his team is special teams. And basically, we whipped them in all phases.
And that was a good Cincinnati team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cincinnati's a very good football
They were
team.
unbeaten in conference play, weren't they?
Yeah. And I said this, earlier this week on a TV hit that I would not want to see Utah right now. BYU is fortunate to get Utah when and where they got them on the schedule. Because to your point, Utah was still trying to find themselves early in the season. Right? And right now, I would agree. They're probably the hottest team in the Big 12 right now.
And they get a bye week, so they get Dampier to get healthy.
And they've got Houston, the two Kansas schools.
Well, they got Cincinnati, and they got
he's talking about Utah.
Yeah. Their path is. They have a nice path.
Yeah, they got all the games that they have left are all.
So they're at Baylor.
Yep.
They get Kansas State at home. Then they're at Kansas. Those are their.
And they should be favored in every game. The Baylor game would scare me a little bit, but Utah coming off a bye I have less worry.
Yeah.
Because I think the Baylor head coach is really a good defensive coach, and he'll have a good plan going in.
Yeah.
Now, whether he has enough, players on his team to compete with Utah, I don't think so. It would just depend. And Utah's great coming off bye.
Yeah.
So I would say Utah ends this season 10-2, and then we'll see what BYU has to. This game is important, but their stretch is tough.
Got to finish 3-1 at least, minimum.
And if that happens, right? If Utah finishes the way that we're describing, same thing with BYU, and Texas Tech, finishes strong, you could have 3 Big 12 teams in the college football playoff. But just think, forget about Texas Tech. Just think if you had BYU and Utah both in the college playoff. This state would get on.
I'll tell you what,
lose our minds.
Yeah, it would be. So give me BYU's remaining schedule: Texas Tech,
Baylor. No, I'm sorry. Cincinnati.
TCU at home.
Yeah, and TCU at home.
And then.
Okay, give it to me again.
So you go at Texas Tech, TCU at home, at Cincinnati, UCF at home.
Whew. So I see that they could probably win 3 out of 4 of those games.
I think that they could win 3 out of 4, and it's funny because every win they've got, it's like you just put more hay in the barn.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm going to point out, I feel like in this game against Texas Tech, I feel like you're playing with house money. I feel like you can gamble. Why not? Why not take the risks? Why not throw crazy blitz packages, throw crazy offensive plays? Why not just take the risk because you're on house money? Sitting at 8-0 with the finishing that you've got.
At number 7.
It's going to take some
right.
It's going to take some unorthodox play to get a win against Texas Tech, and special teams wise too. Take a couple of risks, surprise onside when nobody's expecting it. Those types of things, you're going to have to do something outside of the box to get this win.
Well, sometimes when you play a team the quality of Texas Tech, you take a look at gimmicks, and I was going back, and when I look back at big games that over the years, if we just run our offense, run our defense, run our special teams,
and not put in wrinkles,
and not put in a lot of different things, and although they've had an extra week, But if you put it in the week of the game,
and they've got some deep thinker corner coordinators.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll go crazy on things that they're trying to do. And you can look at the film and say, "Oh yeah, this play really looks good. We need to put that in." Or this play really looks good. We should put that in. But a lot of times, these new things you put in, all of a sudden they go backwards. And then when you go back and look at your film the week later, you say, we should have just stuck to our offense.
Why'd we take that shot on 2nd and 2? We could have got the 2. We could have got ourselves in 3rd and short.
Yeah.
Don't be conservative, right? Don't play not to lose.
Yeah, you
still play to win, and you have enough stuff. It's not like if BYU went for it on the 4th on a fake punt, like people would go, "Wow, that's crazy," because BYU does that.
Kelly does that a lot.
And you got the cyclone reverse, all the different things that you have offensively. That you have enough wrinkles in there that you don't have to put in anything crazy and different, just for the shock and awe effect of it. And because I think that this game is so important, because a loss here and you get some PTSD from last year. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Is TCU going to come in and do it?
Yeah. But at the same time, I think that to your point, you are playing with the house money. You're in a great position, sitting at number 7.
With a bye week. You've never had a better chance to take a couple of risks. And I don't know what those risks are.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you changed. I'm just saying do something that is like, holy cow, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. That was big.
Well, I tell you what, defensively, they've got a lot of defense in. And the thing is that I've been told over and over again from Gary and Jay and that group down there is that these kids can handle a lot of stuff and not make mistakes because they're very intelligent players. So there's no limit of what they can do defensively because these kids can handle it. So whatever weaknesses they see in their offense, BYU will be able to take advantage of it because mentally they can handle it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In other words, the corner has a responsibility, defensive end has a responsibility, and the worst thing that can happen is you put some stuff in that they can't handle.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get that old saying, I thought he said this, I thought he said that.
Yep. Nobody has the answer.
And then all of a sudden, how come that B gap it looked like a truck could run through it?
Yeah.
But these guys, in watching them in practice, are very sound in how they practice.
BYU?
BYU.
Yeah,
very sound.
Yeah.
And based on speed.
And they're getting coached hard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Getting coached hard. Watching Justin in a run out on a field.
Oh, yeah.
And stop. Hey, I want this and this and it. And watching Jay Hill with his safeties, they don't let anything slip.
No, they're first of all, the players have to respond to what you're teaching, and the players believe. And belief is a huge thing. And it's just like the quarterback has got better every week. 71 has got a little better. He can still get better. The offensive left tackle.
Yeah.
So I look at these guys and I see that they've matured. They've gotten better because they take coaching.
And by the way, got to be big.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jada's got to be big.
That front 7 they're going up against is as good as you'll face maybe in the country.
So what I'm calling out is Tanavasa. Hey, Tanavasa, it's your time, my brother.
Yep.
Do you hear me? Yeah.
That's coming from Coach Mack.
I hope you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey, bring your stuff.
Yeah.
Hey,
and on the offensive side, Bear Bachmeier, similar to this defense, they can handle it, what you're putting in.
Right.
Bear Bachmeier has, I think, impressed in so many different areas, but maybe the most impressive for an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, is his ability to be able to have all of this offense now. You kind of spoon-fed him to begin and to see what he could handle. And it's like, dang, this kid can handle it.
Yeah. Well,
right? He's an intelligent player.
He's very mature for his age, and 5 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago when they named him the starter, whatever that was, I said, that's.
Are you sure?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of what I said. Who is he? Because he just came in the summer, correct?
Yeah. No, he was a late addition.
So he
missed spring.
And he
was with spring in Stanford.
Yeah. So they had two guys practicing, in the spring.
Yeah. Bourget and Hillstead.
Probably Hillstead.
I'm saying, well, who's going to be the real deal? I mean, I like the kid that transferred from Utah State.
Yeah, Hillstead.
By the way, Retzlaff was practicing with BYU in spring.
Yeah, Retzlaff was still there when
he was taking all the starting reps.
In. Yeah.
Or, when Bear committed, that Retzlaff had not left yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So there was a real share of reps through spring.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of knew that he wasn't going to be there. The quarterback.
Yeah.
Retzlaff. Yeah.
Yeah, because you just hear different. And I'm looking at the church philosophy, looking at everything, and there was no way out.
Yeah, there was a disciplinary action was imminent.
Yeah. Yeah. So you knew that BYU had to make a statement.
Yeah.
Okay. And they tried everything that was legal.
Yeah.
To try to keep him there. You set out 5 games, and you could play the last 6, and which is not very appealing, So you have to give credit to the BYU coaching staff and the people that
and Santiago. I mean, he takes over, and this is the first thing that he deals with.
Man, that's so true. This big controversy.
Yeah.
Coach Mack, I am curious. So true freshman quarterback, biggest game of his life. First top 10 matchup in BYU history where they're a top 10 and they're playing a top 10. It's never happened before. So this kid is getting requests from every major media outlet. You've got Game Day that's going to be there, and they want to know what type of underwear the kid's going to be wearing in the game, and they want to talk to him and his family, and they want to get professional photos, and they need to come to the house and bombard him with questions, and he's got to be on 2 phone calls, one with Jim Rome and one with Colin Cowherd, and he's got to all of these weekly responsibilities. As a coach, what do you do to protect him in this environment?
You got to keep all the noise out of the kid's head.
And how do you do that? Do you just tell your SIDs? No, we're not taking those requests.
Yeah, your SID says, hey, this is when the kid's available. He's available at this time. Otherwise, you go through me or go through his position coach or somebody else. But I would definitely limit the kid's availability.
On a limit, you talk about those massively impactful moments. I went through one in my career with Scotty to start the show. Those moments can be really difficult to keep the noise out of your ears and keep the fear out of your heart and keep all the anxiety out of your brain and to shed all that and go play football. It can be really hard.
Especially at that position where that everybody's looking at you to be – sound, strong, steady, and everybody, every one of us is human. And it's like my hope for him, and I think it's a huge benefit that Tiger is on this team. Like his brother's there. And I got my brother that I can unleash, some of these things. And I can talk with them. Man, I'm feeling some, this or that. Because you don't share that with the general public. You might not even share that with the entire team. Now, the team is there to support you. But from a mental health standpoint, man, you got to have an outlet somewhere. And I think it's a huge blessing that Tiger's on this team, and he's got a good relationship with his brother.
Yeah, I want to point something out because I don't think that there could be a better fit than Aaron Roderick.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna point this out. Coming out of high school and going into my recruiting and meeting some of these coaches, Barry Sachs was the first D-line coach I met. He was the Boise State D-line coach. And foul-mouthed, angry, spitting fire all the time. And then I met Coach Katzer, who was the coach at Utah State at the time. And then, I start to move forward with my recruiting, and I go to Nebraska and I meet with the defensive line coach at Nebraska. It's right on the tip of my tongue. He was just a fiery, nasty dude. And I remember it kicks up anxiety. You're like, these dudes are just so intense, and you're like, geez, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Roderick is unassuming.
Yeah.
He's small in stature, so he's not this big, imposing figure that you feel like is breathing fire down your neck. He's very soft-spoken. He never gets out of himself and loses his mind. I even think that Norm Chow as a coordinator, Norm was fierce.
Yeah.
And he was intimidating, and we all stayed out of his path. If we saw him on campus, we got out of his way because he was intimidating. I think Bear Bachmeier has found a unique situation where he's got a quarterback coach that is not intimidating. He's not imposing. He's not fierce.
Yeah.
What he is calm, unassuming, and intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
very similar.
I think the last word you used was the best one. He's intelligent.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get caught up. He's just, an everyday guy.
Yeah.
And he appreciates the assistant coaches. He has people have confidence in him. And so, he's very loyal to BYU.
Yeah. I think all of unless you're on the practice field and in those huddles, and granted, BYU is pretty good with the media that comes out of that campus and that program. But all of the huddles that you see, whether it's Fesi Sitaki or with Kalani, or even with Roderick and his media availability, they're very calm. They're the relationship, and I'm with you, Hans. Football coaches, generally speaking, are high strung.
Yeah,
and it can be overwhelming. And especially, again, we're trying to put ourselves back into our freshman season, at our university and the BYU experience, and how overwhelming that can be. And he is in a very good situation at BYU.
And the other thing, if I'm Bear Bachmeier and I'm coming into the program and I sit down in the meeting room and I'm looking at pictures of Zach Wilson with the Jets, and I'm looking at Jaron Hall with the Vikings, and I'm looking at who's the transfer quarterback that came in, and Slovis.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a picture of Slovis. I think he was on the Bills practice squad. I'm like, okay, NFL, and you're the one that took him there.
Yeah.
Tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
That gains respect. When you got a coach that's earned it and it's gained it, I think that helps to force a kid to listen. And then the other guy that Bear Bachmeier praises is this Matt Mitchell, who's actually the quarterback's coach for BYU. Aaron Roderick has become the OC. Matt Mitchell has worked the quarterback side of it. So I know Bear has worked very closely with Matt Mitchell, and Bear has mentioned that multiple times in the post-game conversations I have with him, and Greg has with him. He's always mentioning, Matt Mitchell. So I do want to mention that there is a unique blend of a quarterback's coach that works specifically with him and the coordinator. More Hanson Scotty coming up.
All college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You know, Coach, when you study war history, your best generals knew everything, every single detail about the other general.
Right.
And they knew all their tricks and all their trades, and they knew everything every sneaky thing they'd done in war and combat in the past. I want to know, how well do you know Joey McGuire? What do you know about Joey McGuire? 4th year at Texas Tech, and he's put together now these pieces for Texas Tech. He fired both his coordinators. He brought in Mac Leftwich as his offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. It's his first season. And then he brought in Sheil Wood, who's his defensive coordinator, first year. Fired both of them, brought in new ones, rebuilt his team, rebuilt his roster with 20 new pieces, spent more money in NIL than anybody else in the country, and now this is what you got. And I'm just trying to figure out, who is Joey McGuire?
Well, you know, obviously Joey McGuire had a plan, and he knew what he wanted to put together, and he had the money to put it together. And obviously, whoever his GM is, you know, that identifies the players and the people that work for him, that identify the players that will be available on the NLI. That first of all, they have the money. They identified the right players of their needs. They identified the coordinators they needed, and they built this team. They took a look at their weaknesses. Okay, here's where we're weak. Here's where we need to get strong. We need 2 defensive inside tackles. We need a defensive end. We need a corner. We need this. So what you do is and they've already identified the people that. My guess, they were in contact with these kids before these kids went out on the NLI. So they knew prior who they were going to approach. In other words, so when I watch these games on Saturday, particularly when I watch the Mountain West teams, I say, okay, this kid's somebody that Utah should approach. This is somebody that somebody else should approach. This kid does everything that you need. You know, like there was a guy at Nevada Arena, a defensive end. So I'm watching him against Fresno. I said, this guy will be a great edge guy because he's active, he's fast, and even though the team is not great,
he's great.
He's great because he can run, he's athletic, and he makes plays. So, you know, so it's just the guy did a good job of identifying the needs, and I'm sure that they were in contact with these players before the guarantees were probably out there before they even completed the some in-between person probably said you reached out, hey, Johnny.
How you feeling?
Well, I like this guy, you know. How do we get in contact with him without being in violation? Can you feel his parents out? You know, would the kid want to transfer for this amount of money? You know, so it's just that, you know, that map that's sitting in front of all these guys.
And that's the future of athletics, because they're not just doing that in football. They're doing that in there are other sports too.
Yeah.
In softball, they're doing it everywhere, and you hope it doesn't ruin college athletics, where just the team or the institution with the most money is going to win all the championships that they want because they have the money to do it. And that you still have some parity and some competition out there, because otherwise, man, that's the part that concerns me. It's like, man, I always think about it from the standpoint of in the grand scheme of things, the championships are great, and it's nice if you put some guys in the NFL, but that's such a small portion of the kids that are going to come through your program. What else are we teaching, and have we lost that in the process? So if you can do that and still be team oriented and individual development oriented, not talking about the athletic side of it, but building good young men, good young women, and building the community, then it's a huge win for everybody.
Yeah. And I'm seeing aspects of both of those things. Coach Mack, Texas Tech is coming out of a physical matchup against Kansas State. Kansas State scored quick in that game with a nice it was a fake fly sweep, and Avery Johnson took the keeper off the right side and went for about 50 yards on the touchdown. And Texas Tech had to really bear down. I saw a few guys go down on the field but come back in the game. David Bailey was one of them. He went down on the field, came back in the game, but it was a very physical game just about 6 days ago against Kansas State. Do you think that helps BYU, just the nature of the Kansas State game, the Texas Tech is on the week and not a bye week? And how much do you think Joey McGuire changes his team to get ready for the number 7 Cougars?
Probably not a lot. Not a lot. First of all, the middle linebacker, his stats are unbelievable. The kid is an unbelievable reader. Now there's 2 guys that I loved watching. There was about maybe 10 years ago a linebacker at Wisconsin, and he could anticipate things so quickly. You watch him in practice and you're amazed. This kid is the same.
Talking about Rodriguez? Rodriguez?
Well,
number 10?
Yeah, Jacob Rodriguez.
Yeah.
10 for Texas.
But he is, to me, he's around every play.
Yeah.
He's in the 4 or 5 guys that are on every tackle. He's there.
Yeah.
And he knows, he processes in his mind extremely well. And obviously he's a leader because they follow. He has a voice in the locker room, on the field, and he's excited to play. So, to me, he's the plus factor.
Yeah, he's the heart and soul of that defense.
For sure.
And then probably the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, and I was looking at Jack Kelly and looking at Glasgow. I mean, BYU's got some great defensive talent.
Yeah.
Well,
but this guy is number 1.
He's special.
Yeah, he's number 1. Coach, I wanted to talk to you because one of the keys in the lead up before this game kicks off that I go back and forth with Greg Wrubell on is going to be 3 to 4 point on the ball. Jacob Rodriguez has forced 7 fumbles. This team has forced 16 fumbles collectively. They lead the country, and they lead it by a pretty decent margin.
Yeah.
When you would teach your running backs ball security or teach quarterbacks ball security, give me a couple of pointers and details for me to watch during the broadcast.
Well, how well they possess the football, where do they carry the football, do they make sure they keep it tucked? And
so you want the ball high, and Lima, I know you can speak to this too. What do they call it? 3-point and then a 4th point with the cover?
High and tight, right?
Yeah.
And 3-point coverage. So you got it covered on the front with the hand, and then it's up tight into the elbow and up against, in that crease up in your shoulder.
Yeah.
Right? And you're keeping it all right up in there. And then you bring the other hand. You watch Bear Bachmeier, and he is textbook because when he gets in traffic, the other hand comes up.
Yeah.
And so does LJ. LJ does the same thing. And you look at BYU, and their turnover margin is actually better than Texas Tech because they've taken better care of the ball than Texas Tech's offense. But it's in large part because these guys are taking good care of the football and they're protecting it, right?
Yeah, you got to know how to you got to know how to fork the ball out from a defensive standpoint, and what to pull on, what to push on, So the primary guy goes in to make the tackle. The next 3 guys are there
either raking it or punching it.
Yeah, and so there are certain drills you can do every day that obviously most running back, wide receiver coaches work on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And And you never talk about fumbling the football. You talk about possessing the football.
Right.
Because if you put fumble in their mind, they're thinking, I don't want to fumble.
Yeah, and then you're thinking fumble.
Yeah.
And then it manifests itself.
It's just how it's how you mentally talk about it. Mentally say, hey, possess the football. Lock it up. But don't use the word don't fumble.
Yeah, and with LJ going into this game, you don't talk to him about, hey, the shoulder, don't fumble the ball. You talk about, hey, the shoulder, you take better care of the ball, right? Not talking about fumbling, but LJ's got to understand that they're coming after you. They're going to try to, get you when you get contact and then get the ball out of there. Exactly. But that's a strong kid.
Yeah.
LJ is a beast.
Yeah, got to tuck
right?
BYU has won 2 games this year when they've lost the turnover margin. They beat West Virginia and they beat Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Took a couple of overtimes to beat Arizona, but they were able to do it. They will not, and mark my words, they will not win this game by losing the margin, if they lose the margin.
No, they won't. And I'll tell you what, going back to that Arizona game, I mean, they were on the cliff.
Yeah.
And they managed to pull it out, which was amazing because it looked like in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, you got an overtime game.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Arizona gives up a little bit. BYU, I mean, that game was definitely in question.
The Arizona game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to go to your defensive corners and say, we're gonna run man. We're going to run man. We're going to bring extra pressures. Yep. And they really got creative. What I saw against Arizona in the fourth quarter defensively for BYU, I'd like to see some of that against Texas Tech. I don't know how capable you think, Alema or Coach, how capable you think BYU is of running man against Reggie Virgil, Caleb Douglas, and Coy Aiken, the 3 receivers for Texas Tech. Is that possible? Because if that's possible, then I've got wrinkles.
I think the one corner, I think it's 11, I think is a man-to-man corner. I think he's a sweet player. Now, the guy on the other side, which I think is either 0 or 1, I think he's okay.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The safeties, I think, are both very good. The nickel guy is really good. And then you got Jack, and you've got the safety guy. Those guys are players.
Yeah.
I mean, if Jack is really healthy,
he's a difference maker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll make a big difference because Jack can run. He's always around the ball.
Contains quarterbacks, even though this one doesn't need contained.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if he's healthy and he feels good, I think he's a difference maker.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll kind of get some of the final thoughts on this game, and then we'll get some thoughts on Utah State, some Utah stuff. That's all coming up. Football Fridays with Alema Harrington and Coach Mack.
All college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I haven't eaten since 10 o'clock, so my blood sugar and triglycerides are a little bit off. I've got half of a Sara Lee pocket in my car, and I'll eat that. I'll get that in my system.
You're a real dirtbag, Lloyd.
Coach asked for it. I don't know what you want me to do.
Coach, you're a dirtbag, too. That's rude. You bring up old times. You bring up old things.
I remember all those things. That's surprising for a guy my age to remember some of that stuff. But, hey, every time I think about it, I laugh.
Man, Coach, you don't forget anything. I mean, you remember things like Neckbone and Wolfman Jack and
Fat Jack, Neckbone.
You bring them all
Chipmunk,
up, man.
yeah, all those guys.
You don't forget anything. And I wish there were some things you would forget. I wish you would start to get old because you remember everything.
There's only one person in my family who doesn't forget anything. That's Grandma.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, my God.
Like stuff from the 1960s, 1970s.
Oh, yeah. She remembers everybody I hung around with. Yeah. Oh, what about that group?
Hey, we're on a short segment, and we're getting out here to Jeff really quick. Just really quick here. Can BYU hold Texas Tech to 28 or lower? The lowest they've been held is 22.
I think 28 is realistic.
I think that they have to hold them to below that because how much have they given up? They don't give up points, because if you're going to try to outscore them, then you can't allow them to have 28. I don't think.
So right now they're number 3 in scoring offense at 43.6. And they're number 5 in scoring defense at 13.2.
That's what I'm saying.
The largest margin of anybody in the country.
Yeah, you can't give up 28 because you got to be able to score more than 28.
See, that's the kind of the number I'm putting for BYU. I think they have to get to 28 because I think the lowest that they can hold Texas Tech is 25, 26, 27.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's giving it everything you got. That's why I put the number at 28, and I'm like, if BYU can get to 28.
If they get to 28, I think they win.
I think they can do it.
Yeah.
But 28's a tall
That's
order.
a big number. I feel like Tony Montana, and then in that bar, scene in the bar when the cop hands him the number, and he's that's a big number.
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
Arizona State got to 26. That's the most points scored on this Texas Tech defense, 26 points. And Arizona State did it in kind of a unique way.
Yeah.
A lot of pop passes, a lot of quick passes to their slants, their slots.
Well, the Arizona State quarterback is, I think, a very good player.
Yeah. And he had that last minute drive to win. It was incredible.
Oh, it was incredible because it was kind of a shock to me, because we watched Arizona State here.
Yeah.
And they looked like they didn't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week,
Utah thumped them.
They looked like they looked like gangbusters.
And beat a Texas Tech team that we watched beat Utah here.
Yeah.
And it was really like a twilight zone. Like, geez, who is this team? I do think 28's the number. I think BYU's going to have to get there. Coming back, more Football Fridays with Coach Mack and Lim Harrington.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It is Football Fridays. Coach Ron McBride, Alema Harrington, getting you ready for BYU and Texas Tech. A big-time matchup. We just spent a whole hour with it. So if you missed that hour and some of Coach Mack's takes on Joey McGuire and BYU's current situation and Alema Harrington's takes on L.J. Martin's importance and what this offense needs to do, you can go back and listen to that hour, and you can catch up on things. Utah was on a bye week, and I think we kind of all three in the break agreed it's not the perfect time for a bye week, but still, Coach, you can get a lot out of it if you're Utah.
Absolutely. Utah's always dealt good with bye weeks in its history. You're going back a long ways and utilizing the time properly. At that time, of course, the development of players was really important. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, there's no development. If a kid's not good enough, get him out of it.
Yeah, it's true. They cut him.
Go to the portal and get the next guy.
It's people aren't aware of how many cuts there are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kids are getting sent home.
Because a lot of these kids, if you hang with them, they're going to be really good players. But you got to invest some time with them. But now you don't look at a kid as being a 3, in his third year, redshirt year, 2 years, third year he's going to become really good. You don't see that anymore.
You let somebody else develop them.
Right.
Then you go talk to your GM, your collective guy, and say we need this guy.
Yep.
And this is tell me how much it's going to cost, but whatever it is, you pay it, and we just bring them in.
And you're going to go to Utah Tech and go see if those coaches can help you, but we don't have a spot for you.
Yeah.
Utah's got a lot of work to do with the 3 games in front of them. Next week they're at Baylor. So Baylor's a tough team. It's a good offense, one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Baylor's tough on anybody just because of how they're designed. I don't think they're a great team, but I think they're a team that can beat you because they have tough kids. The head coach is a tough guy, very quiet, not a real verbal guy, but very smart.
And he's coaching for his job right now.
Yeah,
he needs to finish strong.
I tell you what, there's a lot of guys coaching for their jobs. I mean, if we owe you $11 million, so what?
Yeah, if the buyout's $50 million, we don't care.
Yeah, we don't care.
$200 million in dead money now.
Yeah, crazy.
So it's just there's 5 jobs in the SEC right now. Is that right?
There's 12 jobs total. Between the Power 4 and Power 5s, there was 12 jobs last week. There might be another one this week, but there were 12 open. Auburn's open. Arkansas's open. Let's see, Arkansas, Auburn. Trying to think of the other SEC. Can you think of another SEC team that's open?
Not off the top of my head.
But, there's plenty, Coach.
Yeah, but, Arkansas was really big in recruiting. They got some really the All-Star game in Hawaii with the high school kids. Arkansas had at least 4 kids in that game.
LSU and Florida. LSU, Florida. Auburn. Arkansas.
Well, so LSU, I mean, that guy's a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, he's hot, then he's cold.
Yeah.
But they went through that with the guy from SC too.
Yeah.
He was hot, and then a couple of years later,
there's zero tolerance.
Yeah,
zero patience.
Yeah, and if we got to pay the guy, so what?
Just what we described for the players. It's like, hey, then you're gone.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't play right now, if you can't win right now, you're gone.
Yep. And the guy, I thought the guy at Penn State was really a good coach.
Yeah. Still is. Still, I mean, you have a season like that. It happens.
That was a lot of money that they sent out the door.
Sweeney, I mean, you look at the guy didn't all of a sudden become a terrible coach.
Yeah.
No, it just things happen.
Yeah. It's a cyclical business.
Then Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's open in the Big 12.
Well, so he got rid of all of his coaches last year.
Yeah.
Brought in all new coaches. And then all of a sudden, he has some problems. Now he's gone. So all these assistant coaches, I don't know what kind of contracts they have, whether it's 2 year or 1 year, but all of a sudden these guys all thinking, well, I got a really secure job.
You can't go there because there's security there.
Yeah.
And you're, on the streets.
They took 2 guys out of Utah State.
Yeah.
DJ Tialavea.
Yeah, DJ.
And I'm sure DJ went there thinking, I got some security.
Be there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they took the offensive line coach that was at Utah State that offered my son. They took him, and he's a former Oklahoma State player. They took him there, and now he's like, DJ hopefully will come back to this state.
Yeah.
Well, when he was here,
awesome.
he was hot.
So they're all the Oklahoma State guys are always looking to, I got to have a job.
Yeah.
So who do I know that's going to get hired at this job? Who would the guy keep at Texas Tech? Probably 2 guys.
Yeah.
So it's a wild world.
It's a tough business.
It's a rodeo. So as Utah kind of clamps down on things, Devin Dampierre getting healthy, that's a big one. Wayshawn Parker took a huge step over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That running back has kind of figured things out.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from Wayshawn, Coach?
Yeah, that's a kid from Washington State.
That's right.
Yeah, he was good at Washington State.
He came with Curly. What do you call him? Not Curly.
Yeah. Chucky.
Chucky. He came with Chucky. Yeah.
My man, Marti Atawaya.
Chucky. So I at one of the games at the rain game, right? So I was inside. I had lunch with Chucky's brother.
Donnie,
yeah.
Donnie's my boy.
So we're sitting there and we're talking. He said, "Well," I said, I'm calling him Chucky.
Yeah.
I said, "Chucky's doing a great job." He said, "Well, he never gets to see his family." I said, "Well, that's just part of the process. I mean, you give up that. Well, he doesn't get to do a number of things with his kids." And I said,
well, he can pay for them to have a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And good thing his wife is his wife touring with the Jets too? Because she was a member of she's from the Wolfgram family.
Oh, yeah.
The Jets, the singing group from back in the day.
Yeah. I remember when he married. I played with both Donnie and Marky at BYU, and now Marky's all.
I'll tell you, if you're going back to Hawaii, you get in touch with Chucky. And they'll get you set up on the North Shore.
Oh, is that who? He's got the connections on the North Shore
in Hawaii.
I tell you what, Chucky's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
He's enthusiastic.
He's awesome.
He brings a lot of heart to a team.
Yeah, he does.
And a lot of fun. A lot of just kind of a lot of continuity. So Wayshawn Parker has taken a big step. One thing we've noticed with Jason Beck. And I don't know if this is Jason's call or if it's Kyle Whittingham's call. We're seeing the defensive players really drawing back on the offensive side. We saw Smith Snowden heavy usage, Lander Barton heavy usage. We saw Jackson Benny heavy usage. And now we're seeing guys like Daniel Bray and others that have been implemented to take over where some of those defensive reps were.
Well, I think what you're seeing is more of a team concept, it's not the defense against the offense. It's more a team together. And I think with Kyle, I got a text from Kyle last week, and he said, this is one of the easiest teams I've ever had to coach. And he said and it's a pleasure to go to work every
That's awesome.
day.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, because what you're saying is the guy's willing to – I'm willing to – what do you need, Coach? Well, I need you to go take some reps on the offense. Okay, I'll go do that.
Yeah.
Right? You got guys that are willing to do that. That makes a huge difference in your locker room.
If it was after the BYU game, I was worried about what was going to happen, whether they were going to kind of fracture a little bit or come together. But what they did is they came together, coaches, the players, everybody. And you have to give that credit to Kyle. And he put pressure on the assistants. The assistants put pressure on the players, and the players responded.
Yeah, they did. They've played extremely well, disciplined in all their areas. And I feel like the offense is in a really good spot.
And they kind of, they kind of left Jason alone. Like you didn't all of a sudden see Jason going inward.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna do just safe things.
Yeah.
You saw him still wide open. I think what they told Jason, do your thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah, and because that was after the BYU game was a huge test for everybody because that loss was huge. But everybody's kind of forgot it since then because what they see is the program has progressed.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of a national team now. So
very recognized, 13th in the CFP.
That Cincinnati win was a big deal, right? That was a big win.
Absolutely.
Right? And you have a lot of attention on you. And ESPN coverage and all of those things, and then you come out.
That whole game day was there.
Yeah, so those kinds of things, and that community, right? That fan base is fantastic, right? The the community support is
they
big.
really are,
and
it's powerful.
Yeah,
it's powerful, and I think that the College Football Playoff Committee really acknowledged that when they put them at 13.
Yeah.
Because 13 with 3 left, they control their own destiny. You mentioned it. There could potentially be 3. I actually think it'll be a Big 12 champion and potentially Utah.
Yeah.
Because if Utah doesn't get to the Big 12 championship and they win 3, they'll be ranked as high as 9.
Yeah.
And if you're ranked as high as 9 when the committee's putting together the 12-team playoff, number 9 is going in.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be interesting. Will BYU be a 12-0 team, an 11-1? Will Texas Tech be an 11-1? Will that be Texas Tech's second loss? If BYU beats them, will they drop down below Utah? Because then BYU is a Big 12 champion at 11-1, gets in, and then Utah at a 10-2, 9-ranked team gets in. There's a lot of different ways that this thing plays out, but Utah, I think, largely controls their own destiny. Win out. Even if I don't make it to the Big 12 championship, because BYU is a one-loss team, Texas Tech is a one-loss team, or vice versa, Cincinnati is a one-loss team, Texas Tech's a one-loss team. However it plays out, if I just win my 3 games and win by the margin I'm winning by, 30-plus, I think I control my own destiny.
And it's a bit of a pedigree, too, because people – the general population, speaking of, the committee, they're looking at Utah as that's a legacy program.
Right.
That's a program that has earned their right to get consideration.
Right. Multiple Pac-12 championships, multiple Rose Bowl appearances.
Yes.
And putting up a really good performance against them, too. And, what was nice is you watched Arizona State, who gets the Big 12 bid last year, and they take Texas to double overtime. They nearly upset Texas in that first round. So I think that the Big 12 has made some steps forward. For instance, the top-ranked ACC team, Virginia, is 14th below the third-ranked team in Utah in the Big 12 at 13th. So that's telling me that the ACC is a 1 bid, the Big 12 is at a minimum 2 bid, and then the SEC is going to probably fill up the rest.
Yeah.
But it's looking really good for the Big 12. Gentlemen, thank you. I'm going to
safe travels.
We'll hand it off to Scotty G. He'll be on with Alema and Coach Mack. He'll take you home to 3 o'clock. That's more Football Fridays coming up next.
All college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hans Olsen, folks, has left the building. Now we can really have some fun. How you guys doing?
Good.
Scotty G, you got some basketball coming up?
Yeah, I'm in Dallas right now. Actually, I'm in Frisco, Texas, just outside of Dallas, and calling a basketball game tonight. And then we'll head on. Got an early flight. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled tomorrow morning, and then we'll drive up to Logan for Utah State and Nevada. So we got little planes, trains, and automobiles going on right now.
I love this time of the year. I love when football and basketball overlap a little bit, and you get to, especially the guys like us that are in the business of covering all sports and get an opportunity to do everything. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
Very busy.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, I know you've been talking about this game a lot with Hans, but I just want to reset just how big this game is for the BYU. I just think that you're looking at probably, am I safe to say, the biggest game in Kalani Sitake's career as a coach?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than this. I mean, I think BYU's 8-0 going into this game, and playing a really good football team. I mean, this game is so pivotal, or whatever the word is, the correct word. But it's, man.
7 versus 8.
Yeah. I mean, this could, let's say BYU wins this game. It propels them huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then each game gets bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So and there's a lot to be done by 3 or 4 teams in this league. on the last 3 or 4 games of the year.
And as a coach, you got to manage this thing. And I love the mantra that you've heard coming out of BYU, Scotty, which is humble and hungry, and go 1-0 this week. You know, not getting too caught up. It's easy. I mean, it's our business to get caught up in all of the the stuff that is on the periphery. But for the team in that locker room, it's really got to be one game. Just this game.
Yeah, take it, as they say, take it one game at a time. And
do you treat this game a little differently in terms of how you motivate a team and talk about what's on the line and just how big of a, or do you say no, it's just another day at the office, go out and do your job?
Well, the players know.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that.
If you have to get them excited to play this game and use up a lot of energy on psychological stuff, it's probably not a good result. But if you just kind of going about your business, but the players know, the leaders know, everybody knows what's at stake, So, and this is a pretty mature group. If you're a team kind of trying to find your way, well, then you got to look for ways to get your players to have the confidence to play in big games if they haven't been there before. But this is just, this is kind of, if you in the football business, you'd say this is an earned game.
Yeah.
In other words, they've earned their way into this opportunity, and and believe me, every week has not been a blowout for BYU.
Yeah. Every
week they've had to earn their living, so it isn't like, if we're going to dominate Colorado, we're going to dominate Arizona, they found a way in, not a way out.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to the coaches, a testament to the players, a testament to the resolve, and they've done you got to give them credit. I mean, they've done a great job, and if you watch them practice, they practice like they belong.
Yeah.
So
One of the things, Scotty, that I love about the BYU is the maturity on this team. And then when I look across the board, especially in that receiver room, including the tight ends, and I think Utah kid, Roy High School, American Fork High School, Corner Canyon. So from Hagen to Hanson, these guys, they're all Utah guys, and for the state, I think it's a fantastic. And you can say the same thing for Barton or Snowden, for looking at the University of Utah, same thing. But it's big for the state of Utah.
Yeah, well, Utah's roster, they brought in 60 new players.
Yeah,
okay, guys from all over the country.
Yeah.
If you look at BYU's roster, they kept bringing in more Utah kids.
Yeah.
And the thing I learned a long time ago is when we kind of emerged, we did it with Utah kids. And because a lot of people didn't necessarily respect the Utah players. Thought, well, we go to California, we're going to get a better player. Or, we go to Texas,
Florida,
we're going to get a
right?
player.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the kids, for instance, if you're developing a player, you got a better chance to develop a player from Utah because he's at home.
Yeah.
And therefore, he's going to be more committed to your university. He belongs. If you got an outside kid, how soon can this guy get where he really belongs?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of value to the in-state player.
Well, Alema, I just love the fact that when we're doing this show and we talk about an individual player, you immediately go back and say, well, when I was calling a game of his at Quarter Canyon, or when I called a game at Lone Peak, or whatever the case is, because that gives so much like a relatability, since we're making up words, in terms of just knowing who these guys are.
Yeah.
And so you've got a connection, and I'm not just talking about you as a broadcaster, but fans that watch games or go to games are like, yeah, I saw that kid as a sophomore, and now look what he's doing. I mean, there's a lot of pride involved in that.
Yeah, he's a homegrown kid. You know, I remember watching Parker Kingston as a quarterback at Roy High School, right? Or Cody Hagan, or, you know, Chase Hansen, and you know, Carson Ryan, all of these guys playing here locally. And it's not just the big schools, because I'm naming off some of those, but we're talking Kearns High School, across the state, that you got these kids that are, you know, starting to blossom. And for us watching here locally, I think it's always, you know, a sense of pride that they're getting this kind of national attention. And it's good for high school football here in the state, because these kids now, they're looking at it as an opportunity, instead of, okay, I'm going to go, you know, to, you know, someplace in the SEC. I'm going to go play at Oklahoma. I'm going to play at Texas, whatever the case may be. And that's great. And Tausili Akana ended up at Texas. Now is back home. You know, look at, Suamataia ends up, goes to Oregon, then comes back. You know, and so these guys, I love, you know, the transfer portal offering an opportunity for these guys to come back home. And, you know, so you can say the same thing for Puka Nakua, who starts off at Washington and then comes back home. You know, it's big for the community to see these guys have the success, and to be able to have it at the University of Utah or the BYU or at Utah State. You know, these kids have I think that Utah State is going to get a lot of these kids that wanted to stay home and couldn't go to Utah, couldn't get to BYU, and they end up at Utah State. They're going to get a flood of talent, especially with Bronco Mendenhall there.
Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt, too. And the fact, like, I look at a guy like Bryson Barnes.
Yeah.
Bryson is made for the Mountain West Conference.
Oh, yeah.
He has absolutely flourished, and if he had a better offensive line, he'd probably be in the conversation for Mountain West Conference Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
But he's kind of running around for his life a little bit. But there's no doubt, like, he could have hung out at Utah, drove in his truck, and enjoyed life down there at Utah, but not seen the field a lot. Or he comes to Logan, gets a ton of playing time, and can really showcase his skills against good teams at a pretty good level, too.
Well, he really fit the offensive style, and he's a born winner, and he's flourished in Broncos program.
Coach, when you have a offensive line that has struggles throughout the course of a season, you can't trade for a player, you can't sign free agents. How do you try? Do you have to maybe scheme to hide some of the issues that you have when you're dealing with a inferior offensive line like Utah State may be dealing with right now?
Well, what you do is you take a look at what the kid's weakness is, and then you try to take that weakness away from him. And then you have to work on little things to get him to make the right steps. And sometimes, let's say a guy doesn't have great feet. Then what you do is he aggressive? Then you take away the thought process from him of steps. You say, your eyes will take your steps. So you just put your eyes on your target, come off full speed, and then let's say you got too many calls on the line of scrimmage where this call is made. You try to take all the thinking away from the player and let the coach do the thinking and make it simple. And what you try to do is simplify it so the kid can have success. So you have to coach to his level, not to your levels. So you have to look and see, okay, how does this kid learn?
Yeah.
Does he learn by writing something on the board? Does he learn by watching film? Does he learn by how do you make him better? So rather than saying he's no good, you got to find a way to make him believe in himself and get him better, because you have to change a certain way you coach him, because he learns better this way. And if he has some deficiencies, you can't just say, well, he's no good. You know, and then all of a sudden he's no good for the whole season.
Yeah.
And you're trying to cover him up. But if you figure a way, okay, how can I get him better? what is his weakness, and so you just have to, it's like teaching in a classroom.
Yeah.
Every student learns differently, but the kid has to have a heart, first of all. If he doesn't have a heart to play the game, then you got a problem.
Yeah, then you got to find somebody else. And as like Scotty's saying, you're kind of at the point of the season where you got what you got.
Yeah.
You can start to look in the portal and game plan for next year. But right now, for Utah State, you're trying to get bowl eligible, and that means you got to take the guys that you got and make them the best they can be, and somehow find ways to accentuate the positive that you have at the quarterback position. And whether that means that you shorten the drops and then you get the ball out quicker, there's going to be things that you're going to have to do to hide the deficiencies that you might have on the offensive line. But now, if you're the Aggies right now, you're thinking, okay, what do we need to do to be able to finish the season and be bowl eligible? And then you have BYU, Utah, and Utah State. You could have Utah and BYU both in the college football playoffs, and Utah State going to a bowl game.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of, analyzing, and you can't keep telling the kid he's not good.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, he's going to become not good. And he's going to question mark. He gives up a sack, and he's thinking about it for the next 3 plays. So therefore, then he maybe get caught holding. I know that I remember in Arizona we went into a game, 2 games, where the right tackle, who was an All-American, is out. The guy playing behind him is not good. So I just taught him to hold. Yeah, I said you're gonna hold on every down.
Yeah, they can't call it every time.
Yeah, just keep your hands inside, and don't
stay inside the frame.
Inside the frame.
And if he pulls away, then you got to let him go.
Yeah, and drag him if you have to, but. And the kid scored out like 94%.
There you go.
And he said, "How come I haven't been starting?"
That might be my favorite story you've ever told, Coach. That's a classic right there.
Yeah, hold on every time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just keep.
All right, we'll wrap. We'll wrap things up next.
Grab the jersey, drag. Hey, call it the drag technique.
All right. Yeah, there you go. We're going to teach you the pull method here, and we're gonna make sure that our quarterback stays clean. Oh, that's great. Hans and Scotty, final segment next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard. It's a Football Friday, getting you ready for the biggest game of the year. Yes, it is BYU and Texas Tech, number 7 versus number 8, as we're going to get you ready for what should be a fun one. Hey, Thanksgiving's coming up, and if you want the best barbecue, smoked turkey breast, go to Kenny J's Barbecue. KennyJBBQ.com. They'll cook the whole turkey for you. You can come and pick it up on Thanksgiving morning, drive it to your house, present it like you cooked it yourself, and take all the credit for it. They don't care. KennyJBBQ.com. All right, Alema, write the script for me. What are you going to see tomorrow?
It's going to be low scoring. I know that Hans keeps talking about BYU's going to win it like 28-24 or something like that. I just do not see the Texas Tech defense giving up 28 points. It almost seems like an impossibility for that to happen. So I think that BYU wins in a low-scoring affair, and maybe 2 touchdowns in the field goal, maybe a touchdown and 2 field goals, and they surrender, a touchdown in the field goal. They win, and I'm not talking about covering. I'm happy that they're underdogs because I think that's a good mindset to come into the game with if you're BYU. There's a lot of distractions going on in Lubbock, Texas right now. ESPN Game Day is there. I'd much rather have that happen for Texas Tech than for BYU to be dealing with all of that chaos that is going on that's part of that. And I don't remember the last time that they've been in Lubbock, Texas. It's been a long time since they've been there. So it's going to be crazy there. So for the home team, I think that becomes a distraction. And hopefully for BYU it does. Because if you're BYU, you're dealing with a time clock issue as far as your body is concerned. Your body clock is going to be a little bit off. And I know that there's preparations gone into that. But the bottom line, all that being said, low-scoring affair. BYU, if they can get 17 or 21 points in this game, I think that they can win the game. But it's going to be reliant on their defense. And so for BYU, I say let's say if I'm going to put a score out there, let's say 21-17 is the final score.
Yeah,
Coach,
well,
where are you going?
I think Lima's right, and I probably made a mistake earlier, in the show when I thought it would be a higher score, and this Texas Tech hasn't given up a lot. So if you're going to beat them, you got to beat them by 3, you got to beat them by 6, but it's going to be a 14-12, 19-16.
And don't be shocked if this thing goes to OT. And it's imperative for BYU that you have to win the turnover battle.
Oh yeah, the turnover margin will be huge. The special teams will be. There's like 9 factors that you have to cover.
Yes.
And if you can cover 5 of the 9, you probably win.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
But turnover margin is huge.
Yeah.
And how you handle the turnovers, that'll be the key. In other words, on sudden change.
Yeah.
In other words, it should you get a sudden change. Either if your defense has to go on the field, they better go on the field in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't go on the field with not again or not this. It's the psychological part of this game is huge.
Well, that wraps it up for us. Gentlemen, enjoy the games
Chef.
coming up this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Hey, do I have time to plug one thing?
Yes, one thing.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
please do.
Okay, so I'm going to Hawaii this week. Okay, who's playing?
You're going on
Deloitte.
Deloitte's playing.
Hansen, and Joey Bushton, who owns the Turtle Bay Golf Course.
Yeah.
Now we're going to put on a event
Big fundraiser
on the North Shore for the hospital, which has been underserved for 30 years.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is do everything we can do to make that hospital better for the people on the North Shore.
Yeah.
So this is a big thing for Joey, for Deloitte, for all these people.
Deloitte, thank you for that. And, Coach, thank you for that. As a guy that is born and raised in Hawaii, thank you for the what you're doing for the people there.
Yeah. So this is awesome, and we're excited from my foundation to be able to do this. So it should be it should be an event.
It's going to be an awesome event.
Yeah. So I've always looked forward to giving something back to particularly that hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you visited people in their homes, all they talk about is how hard it was for them.
You got to go all the way in town.
You got to go in town.
Or Kapiolani Hospital.
Exactly. To get.
Yeah.
But if a hospital on the North Shore was more serviceable and did more things, then we could take care of our people.
Yeah.
I love it.
And so
Coach, you're the best.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Thanks,
So
Coach.
that's our deal.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
thank you for helping them
Hey, and then let's move some cars.
Yes.
Let's
And
go.
I'm still waiting for the first
test
person
drive.
to come test drive. Hey, I don't see him.
Test drive with the coach.
Yeah, we go around the block.
Wrap it up, Scotty.
Hey, you're the best, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Coming up next, JJ and Alex straight ahead, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.